So guys, is it clear about interface? It's very important concept in OOP section. Is there any doubt? Guys, are you there? Is there any doubt? Means you can share here. I will explain it. No issues. Okay, fine. So let's move on to the next one actually. So the next one is which is just to implement the concept which is called inheritance. If you want to inherit something from another class, if class is inheriting another class means you have to use the keyword extends. And also an interface is extending another interface. Sorry, an interface is inheriting another interface means you have to give the keyword extends. But a class is inheriting an interface means you have to give the keyword which is implements. Okay, a class will extend another class, an interface will extend another interface, a class will implement another interface. Okay, but this interface never extend a class because interface will only contain what? Only contain abstract method. That means only the declaration. There is no definition part. A class will contain abstract classes, abstract methods, concrete method. Concrete methods, nothing but it's actually normal method, but it is called as concrete methods, right? So an interface never extends a class. Interfaces are used to give a standardized form for your program. Okay, and the next one is actually collections. So a collection will contain interfaces, classes, collection framework, all the things. So I think you guys, yeah, are you anyone is from EC or electrical batch? From any circuit batch, I want to know. Okay, fine. Okay, yes, so yes, so you guys know the data structures, right? That array, linked list, stack, queue. Actually, these data structures are used to store data, right? So every data structure have its own property and its characteristics. So normally when you are trying to, for a beginner, we will use array. So array is a type of data structure which will store homogeneous data. That means if you are declaring an array as an integer type, you are giving an array for an array, you are giving a return type as integer means it will store only integer values. If you are declaring like float means it will store only float values. Like that character array, it will store character one. So that array is a homogeneous data structure. And one drawback of this array is actually once you declare the size. So when you are declaring the array, you are giving the size, the limit for that. Actually, the limit is actually how much data that we are going to given to this data. Sorry, array actually. So once it is fixed means it will never change in the future. So if it is used or unused, that space will not allocate for any other purpose. So this is one of the drawback of this array. Array is a static, array is following static memory allocation. And for avoiding that, we are using other data structures which are linked list, stack, queue, or those which are following dynamic data structure. So dynamic data structure or dynamic memory allocation means if you have a data, then only that compiler will allocate space for that. If you have data, then only it will allocate space. That means there is no wastage of memory. So this collection, Java collection is actually containing this type of data structures. There are array, linked list. Linked list are of three types, which is single, double, and circular. And then set, hash set, map, then stack, queue, DQ, NQ, there are lot of lists, there are lot of data structures which is available. So these collections are used to store different data structures. So according to our requirements, we can use any of that. So all these data structures will have their own properties, their own characteristics, all those things. Okay, so if you don't want duplicacy in your data means, you can go for set. Set will not allow duplicate values, right? Like that, you can take any data structures. So this collection is actually contain this type of data structures. So there is a lot of, and one thing is that these data structures which are array list are contained in an interface called a collection interface. Collection is an interface. In that collection interface, these things are available. And also there are another interfaces are available, other packages, other classes are also available in this collection. It's a huge collection actually. So this is already discussed. So collection framework will contain interface, implementations, and algorithms. Implementation means nothing but it's actually classes. Implementation of the methods. And the last one is actually exception. So exception means that errors, right? So in these exceptions will be interrupts the normal flow of execution. Okay, so if you are writing the code and if you are giving, so there is one case that 10 divided by 0. So this is actually an error in programming, right? This is actually an error. So if you want, it is necessary in your program. And if you know that if you write like this, it is going to be an error. So if it is going to be an error means that compiler will stop there and the running of your program will also be stopped there. So for avoiding that, we can give the exception handling techniques, right? If you are using that exception handling technique means you can maintain your normal flow of execution. That means these exception handling techniques will use some keywords which is called try. One, try, then catch, then throw, final, and finalize. Something one more is there. So these keywords are used to exception handling. So if you know that it's going to be an error and you have to handle that means, so 10 divided by 0. So it is implemented like in a try catch statement. In a try, you have to write try. Inside that try, you have to give if 10 divided by 0 is occurs, right? If 10 divided by 0 is occur means you have to give what? You have to catch that error. So if it is like you have to catch that error and here you can just print 10 divided by 0 error. So after executing that, your compiler will execute or it will move further. Okay, this is how an exception will handle. And another one is that about array. So array, I told you that the array size is fixed. And if you are giving more values than the limit, than the given limit, that compiler will give an error like array index out of bound. The size is you are given 10 and you are giving 11 means the compiler will return an error like array index out of bound. So that array index out of bound, that is actually predefined, that exception. There are a lot of exception handling techniques that by default in our compiler. So that compiler will return array index out of bound. So you know that it's going to be an error. You can give it in a try catch log and it will be handled there and your program will run smoothly. So this is how an exception will handle. Okay. So these are the things all over about the OOPS and the Java, all our things. Okay. So next, I will show you some questions. Don't save. I will take in another PPT. Let's move with the overview. Okay. Okay. So some questions that is related to the previous things that we discussed. So question 1, which is true. So 4 statements are given. The first one is like x extends y is correct if and only if x is a class and y is an interface. And B, S extends Y is correct if and only if X is an interface and Y is a class. And C, X extends Y is correct if X and Y are either both class or both interface. And the last one, X extends Y is correct for all combination of X and Y being class and or interface. So which one is correct, guys? A class will extend another class. An interface will extend another interface. But a class will implement another interface. So according to that, which statement will be the right one? Option C, exactly. Option C is actually the right one. That is X extends Y if X and Y are either both class or interface. Very easy, right? And second one is actually record snippet. So let's discuss that actually. So here it's a class called string. So strings. So in that strings class, we have a main method. In that main method, string yes. String yes, we are creating a variable as string. To that variable we are assigning some values. So whatever inside a what double quotes, it will consider as a what string. So it will store like Java, then 1 plus 2, then kiss, and 3 plus 4. So this is given out of double quotes and it is given inside a parenthesis. So it will 3 plus 4, it will be considered as 7. And here it is in between plus, sorry, double quote. So it will take itself, that is 1 and 2. So it will store Java 1 to keys 7. So option D will be the answer. And here's a statement that is system.out.println, right? It is going to print some name. So this statement is going to print whatever inside this yes. So here in this statement, some interviewers will ask like, what about system out and println? What is this actually? So in this statement, system is actually a predefined class, right? System is a predefined class and out is an object and println is a or print. We can give like print or println. It's two different, and println is a predefined class. So I already told you for accessing the methods variables we have to use objects. So from the predefined class system, we are using an out object to access the println function which is stored in the system class. So this is actually what happens here. So system is a predefined class. Using the object out, we are calling the function which is called println. So most of the interviews will ask like this. I got this type of question, so that I am sharing this. Okay, and the next one, yeah, it's also a code snippet. So here it is a class strings. So like there is a function called void main. Then inside that void main, actually we are declaring a string variable str1 and it is initialized as face, and another one string str2 equal to new string face. So this is actually possible. String is a class. Okay, string is a class. Normally this Java is actually okay. Java is not 100% or it's not pure object oriented programming. It's 99% only. It's a object oriented one, because this Java is actually using primitive data types. The primitive data types, which is nothing but int, float, char, string, all this. not string actually, in float, cat, and double. These are primitive data types which are used in Java, so that the Java is not considered as a fully object-oriented program, right? So here that when you are declaring these variables as like the primitive one, that is int a. This is how we are declaring uh, variable. So here I am declared this variable a as an integer 1. Okay, so like that here it is given string str1 equal to face. So this is also possible. That is, here it is, the string is a class. In Java, integer is another class. So instead of this, we can give like integer is a class, integer a equal to new integer, and whatever the value you can give, I am giving 2. So these two steps are possible for initializing a value, right? So these two steps are possible. And another one, so here the str2 is also initialized as face. And str2.intern, intern is actually a predefined function. So for handling strings in Java, we will have three different classes, three different predefined classes. That is, one of that is actually string. String is a predefined class for handling string variables or string methods, all the things. And another two one is string builder and string buffer. Okay, string builder, string buffer, and string. Three different classes are there. So according to our requirements, we have to use that. Okay, that means string. I think. String is allowing duplicacy, but string buffer it's not allowing duplicate values. That means here it is face and face, two different variables will hold same value. So this will not allow in string buffer, but in string builder it is allowing. In string also it is allowing. Okay, so for according to our, it's these three different classes have its own characteristics, different characteristics. According to our requirements, we can use any of that. And in a string class, there will be, we are just imagining there is a pool. So in this pool, actually, we are storing these values, or we are assigning these values. So str1, this is a string pool. There is str1 and str2. Two different variables are there, two different string variables are there, and it's having the same value face. So this intern function is going to do what means str2.intern. This function will return true if that value in str2 is already in the pool. So the value of str2 is what, which is face. So an str1 is already in that pool, which is also holding face. So this intern will return what? It will return true. Okay. And if that is a unique value in that pool, means it will return false. So this is what will be done by this intern. Okay. So this is actually what it's doing. And the next one is actually what does public string replace all will do. So replace all, it's a predefined function. So four statements are here. Replace all characters that matches pattern with the replacement string. Option B, replace first subsequence that matches pattern with the replacement string. And replace all other than first subsequence of that matches pattern with the replacement string. And option D, replace every subsequence of the input sequence that matches pattern with the replacement string. So actually option C will be the right one. That is, it is from the name itself, it's suggesting that it is replacing something, right? So this replace function, it is taking one argument and that value, that first subsequence of that matches. So there will be some input in that there will be some input in that in that program, and if it is matches with that subsequence, so what are the sequence, so what are the values it will be matches with that replacing state. If it is matches means that will be replaced by this replacing value or that parameter we are passing. Okay, that option sorry, note that one, option D will be the answer. It's just replacing the value. And this is another last one question. So here it is a class actually. So a class called test method. So this class is from here to here itself. So in that class we are declaring an integer I. Integer I, and it is initialized as 1, and we are initialized this as static. Static will act like a constant. Once it is declared, this value never get reinitialized. That is constant, right? So here it is, I value is initialized as 1. And in the main method, so this public static void main. And here also it is used to static, right? This public static void main. We know that in every program, there will be a main function. The compiler start executing from the main function. So for identifying the main function, we are giving this static. So, and for giving the scope as globally, we are giving public. So the compiler wants to identify that, right? So we are giving public static. If you have a static method, that will execute first in your program. That's why it is given as static. Okay, if you have a static method, and also if you have another static method other than this main method, that will going to execute first according to their scope. So this is public. Public means that scope of this function, scope of this function will be available. That scope will be available in a particular package. So in Java, actually, there will be one package. In that package will contain different classes. Okay, so the scope of this main will be inside that package. Okay, that's why it is given as static. So it's giving a preference for this main actually. So in that main function, here it is system.out.println I plus there is a comma. So I value is printing. I value is what, which is 1. So 1 will be printed. And then there is a comma inside a open and closing, sorry, inside a double quotes, it's given like a comma. So that comma also will be printed. After that, here it is called M of I. So M of I. So a name which is followed by an open and closing parenthesis, that means that is a function. So the function definition is available where? It is available here. Public void M. It is taking one argument which is nothing but our I. I value is what? It is 1. And here in this main function is going to do what? It's get update the value of I by 2. So the I is initialized as static. That means its value never get reinitialized again. So this process will not be run. Right? This process will not be run because it is a static variable. So it will not run. So it's another statement. System.out.println I value. The I value is what? It is saying it is 1. So 1 comma 1 will be printed. That is option C. Option C will be the right one. Okay, so this is just the first overview of the OOPS concept and the programming. So this is just a recapping. I already told you this much things. So it's 4:50 and let's want to wind up the session. And the next class we will explain this much things actually. These are the OOPS concept: object, class, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. And also the definition part also given here. Let's discuss in the next class, and I will give you the link. And you guys want to give your register number? No, I will share the one link for you guys. You guys just want to fill that. So the form link I given in the chat box. You guys can fill that, and let's wind up the session and let's meet in the next session. Thank you guys. Any
Ma'am.
doubt means just pause here. Okay. Any
Ma'am.
doubt?
Yes, ma'am. Will we have Java for the entire session or only till Cat 1 or Cat 2?
Sorry.
Ma'am, like, will we have Java for the entire session or will we only have it till Cat 1 or Cat 2?
Okay, so this is the first class. Is this the first class for you guys today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so not only this one, there is soft class, soft skills class, and also aptitude class is available. I'm taking these three also, but for you guys, I'm giving this technical class only. So in the coming days, you will get aptitude and also soft skill. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Uh,
Ma'am, can we leave?
yes, till 50 only our class, so you guys can leave.